Listen, guys, kick your shoes off at the door. We are at Mr. Biscuit Speaks. That's the name of the channel. My name is Mr. Biscuit. Mr. I beat the dude that beat you. Nice to meet you. Listen, we are about to have a lesson in perspectival knowing. Do not click off of this video if you haven't seen this video yet. We're going to pause it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down, and we're going to get into what perspectival knowing is. A lot of us are used to propositional knowledge. That's knowledge of facts, right? We think that the whole world is just kind of this taxonomy of facts. But there's also procedural knowledge, which gives you skills, knowing how, right? And then perspectival knowledge is knowing different perspectives. It helps you with interpersonal intelligence. So we're going to check out this video, Three Little Pigs by Joyner Lucas, and we're going to break it down, seeing if we can get a good lesson in perspectival knowledge. I think we can. Let's check it out, guys.
Man, you know you're supposed to be asleep, right?
I'm having trouble falling asleep.
You having trouble falling asleep? How about Daddy reads you a bedtime story?
Yeah.
Want me to read you a bedtime story?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got just the perfect bedtime story for you. See this story right here? It's called The Three Little Pigs.
So they were three little pigs. They was all grown up, and they were drinking some hot coffee and eating donuts. It was a beautiful
That's a crazy way to start off this bedtime story to your kid. What is it about these three little pigs? What do you know so far about them? They're all grown up, right? Which means when you talk about a grown up to a child, you talk about somebody who's responsible, right? I mean, to a child, a grown up means responsibility. These are the people who are in charge. But they're drinking a bunch of coffee and eating a bunch of donuts. They're over caffeinated and just are gorging themselves on sugar. So Peterson is saying that these three pigs, even though they're grown up, even though they're adults, there's some hedonism there, right? They're not necessarily responsible, right? Pay attention to every line here.
sunny day, some real perfect weather, and the pigs was dressed the same, cause they all work together, and that job ain't really easy, and they work is kinda scary, so they all got water guns. That's their favorite thing to carry, and they'll squirt you more than once if they think it's necessary, but we'll talk about that later. Let's get back to the story.
Right.
Deep inside the forest was a family of wolves in a pack. Even though they had sharp teeth and they were black, ain't really mean that they'll attack. Just means that they were trapped because the color of their fur made some believe that they was bad.
Guys, look at this, and this is what I mean by perspectival knowing. It gives you access to a whole new perspective. Later, when this channel develops a little bit more, all of these videos are going to have an ecology of practices. And what the ecology of practices is mean like put some practices in your life to actually gain the skills that this song is trying to give to you. One of the ways that I did that, I was reading David and Goliath, and I was just like, you know what? I don't know a lot about Goliath. I know a lot about David, a fair amount about David. I mean, he's a young Israelite who's, really courageous and things like that. When I started studying the Philistines, when I started studying like Goliath's culture, bro, they weren't savages. They were actually a really sophisticated group. Goliath was just a really big dude, and so he joined the warrior class. But I mean, we tend to now think of Goliath as like this big, dumb, savage brute, who was evil. I mean, the Philistines, they would trade with Egypt. I mean, they were a seafaring group, and they were far more sophisticated than the Israelites of their day. So, I mean, changing perspective sometimes and just taking the role that the author didn't mean for you to take, man, it will open you up, because what that allows you to do, having that perspectival knowledge, it allows you to see the universe in a different way. And that's exactly what we need when we have a complicated problem to solve. We want to see things from a different perspective. So listen closely to this.
I know that sounds sad, but ain't nobody care.
Rewind it a little bit.
And they were black, ain't really mean that they'll attack. Just means that they were trapped because the color of their fur made some believe that they was bad.
And look, a wolf is not necessarily something you want in your backyard, guys. But I mean, when you look at the attributes of a wolf, namely the dangerous ones, the claws, the sharp teeth, the jaw strength, the aggressiveness, all of that, it has a lot to. You could learn a lot about what a wolf has to go through and survive on a day-to-day basis by looking at those attributes. You can see something deeper.
I know that sounds sad, but ain't nobody care, cause the problem with the wolves is they were never treated fair, and no matter where they go, only one thing is clear, that as long as you're a wolf, the pigs gonna be scared. So the forest and the town was separated, and if the wolves wanted to come around, they hesitated, cause they knew they wasn't welcome there. So every time they roam, they always said a prayer in hopes that they could make it home.
So I think he's maybe talking about white flight and redlining a little bit here. When after Jim Crow segregation, all of the black people moved into these sanctuary cities, inner city Chicago, L.A., Oakland, definitely the boroughs, Yonkers, the Bronx, Brooklyn, Harlem. And there was, that phenomena of white flight, people leaving these areas in droves because of the introduction of the black community.
The night was getting cold and all the food was running low. And then right here is a picture of some pots on the stove, some empty cabinets, some old bread with the mold. Let me flip the page real quick. Then one of the wolves said they gon' drive up to the store, and so he hopped inside his car. And before he cranked the key, put his seatbelt on and buckled up to be as safe can be. Followed every traffic rule on the way from A to Z, and then he went to, man, let me skip to the good part. So after he bought some.
See, he's skipping pages, and I think that skipping pages in this kind of reflects a lot of irony, guys, that you don't necessarily have time to fully equip. You have to skip to the good parts. Like when you come from a situation where there's subjugation, or you're trying to give someone a truth that they cannot fully understand because of their age, there are things that you kind of have to skip so that they can focus on what really matters about it.
Groceries, and he up to be as safe can be. Followed every traffic rule on the way from A to Z, and then he went to, man, let me skip to the good part.
Right.
So after he bought some groceries and he was done for good, then he put the food inside his trunk as fast as he could. Then he started driving perfectly and headed towards the woods until he seen the pig's car and knew this probably wasn't good. The pigs on the prowl started speeding up and yelling loud, pull over right now. Turn the car off and throw the keys on the ground and step out and get on your knees and don't even make a sound. The wolf said, wow, how is this allowed? I got my license registration, why you trying to take me down? And he was real scared cause he knew what the pig's about. So he refused to get out and started speeding to his house. Then he pulled up, hopped out, almost fell down but ran inside the front door. That's when he locked the pigs out. Then the pigs screamed loud, get up out this house now, or I'ma huff, I'ma puff, I'ma blow this house down.
Wow.
And now they got the house surrounded, pointing all they water guns, about to shoot some water rounds. Kicked the door down and all they heard was water sounds. That's what happens when the pigs fear you. So here's the moral of the story with a clear view. No matter who you with, or where you're at, or where to, there's always gonna be 3 little pigs living near you.
Good night, buddy.
Yo, the fact that the kid fell asleep to that story means everything. Think about that. Let me know what the meaning of that is in the comments if you think that there is some significance to that kind of a wild story about the good guy being chased down and ultimately victimized, and then the kid actually falls asleep to that story.